Hello everybody, and welcome to this training session on data management. This video focuses on the core structure of the CRFs, irrespective of the type of protocol you are implementing at local level. We will show you an overview of the core structural components of the CRF. In doing so, we will take, as an example, the HIV syphilis protocol for MSM, as the same structure and same principles are applied to the different protocols. This overview is provided so that you can become familiar with the different CRF sheets, irrespective of the protocol you are planning to implement at local level. Before showing you the structure of the CRF, let us remind you that a specific document, which is not part of the CRF, must be completed by the healthcare staff, that is, the screen failure log. This document is used specifically to register screen failures, that is, patients who meet the POCT eligibility criteria but who decline to take part in the study. For example, they decline to sign the informed consent form. In this form, you can write the center ID, the consecutive number of the patients who were eligible but not enrolled, the date of the encounter, the type of target group, whether he or she was eligible, and the reason why he or she declined to participate in the study. You can also add other information in the last column. For instance, whether this patient already attended the clinic in the past, or any information you think might be useful. In any case, please consider that the log must be kept in a secure location if personal identifiers are recorded. The screen failure log is for site use only, and client-level information is never transferred to WHO. However, please consider that for study management purposes, aggregated data, such as total number of screen failures by population group, may be requested by WHO. On the laptop provided to you by WHO, you will find an Excel file which has to be used to generate and print the CRF for each study participant. The first page of the CRF Excel file is the coding page, or ID to print page. In the ID to print tab, you should enter the screen ID for each participant using consecutive numbers for the different participants. In fact, the screen ID code is the unique code generated to identify a participant enrolled in the study, and this must be entered manually in the Excel file. Once the screen ID is entered, this code is automatically included in all the forms of the CRF. Therefore, you can proceed in printing the entire workbook to make a form set for a study participant. The rest of the items visible in the ID to print page are pre-filled for your site and should not be changed. Only in case new test kits are delivered with a different lot number, expiry date, will you be requested to fill in the box 2 for the respective tests. Please note that for participants enrolled in different protocols, the same participants will be assigned a different screen ID, depending on how many participants are already enrolled in the respective studies. For instance, in case an MSM is enrolled in parallel in both the MSM HIV syphilis study and in the MSM XGen study, he will have 2 different codes, one for each protocol. In this slide, we can see the interview page of a CRF. As you can see, the title clearly indicates the protocol and the section of the CRF, in this case, the interview form. In the box at the top right of the page, you can immediately identify the sequence number of the CRF, the type of protocol, in this case MS1, and the page of the section that you are currently visualizing. In this case, 1 out of 3 pages for the interview. Immediately below, you can see a list of codes. This list will be present in each page of the CRF file. The project ID is the ID used by WHO to identify the protocol, the data, and the key population. This field is pre-filled and there is no need to change it. The center ID identifies where participants are recruited in terms of study site, and it is pre-filled. The provider ID is the code assigned to each member of the research team, such as the interviewer or POCT reader, and so on for each centre. This ID allows the tracking of the actions completed by each member of the research team at site level. The screen ID is the unique identifier for each participant in each specific POCT study protocol. This code is composed of different subcodes, and it allows the tracking of the centre and key target population. This code is used for initiating a record to enter participant data in the forms. Finally, the specimen ID is the code used to identify the local lab specimen number. In some cases, it might be a barcode sticker provided by your lab and used in the local standard procedure to track the sample taken from a specific participant. In other cases, you can manually write the ID code as a number. This will be done according to the local standard procedures for the laboratory component. In terms of structure, the interview CRF covers a number of different areas, irrespective of the type of protocol you are implementing in your site. The interview CRF includes items focusing on demographic data such as sex and age, information on the distance between the participant's home and the clinic where the study takes place, data on previous STI and testing history, according to the specific protocol, and general acceptability of POC testing process. In addition, some items are included to explore the outcome of the physical examination performed by the medical doctor or by the healthcare staff. In this case, please consider that this section is not mandatory and it should be filled in only in case the physical examination of the participant is part of the routine practice at local level. Finally, the CRF interview includes a checklist. We will now provide you with some additional information on this checklist. At the end of the interview process, the healthcare staff filling in this section is required to fill in a checklist. That is, a list of items focusing on the core components of the POCT data collection process. The aim of this checklist is to make sure that, once the interview is completed, the mandatory steps of the data collection process are completed. Namely, that the informed consent has been signed and collected, that the interview has been finalized, that the specimen for the POCT has been taken, and that the specimen for the laboratory test has been collected. In case some of these actions have not been completed, the staff member should specify the reasons in the box below. Once the interview is completed, the interviewer should write in the specific box at the end of this section his or her signature, his or her provider ID, and the date in which the interview has been completed. The box below is for the data entry operator. When data are entered by the data entry operator, he or she is supposed to write in the specific box at the end of this section his or her signature and the date in which the data entry process has been completed. Let us now show you the CRF pages for the POCT readers. As you can see, the structure is the same we already described for the interview CRF. The title clearly indicates the protocol and the section of the CRF, in this case, the reader's form. In the box at the top right of the page, you can immediately identify the sequence number of the CRF and the type of protocol. Immediately below, you can find a list of codes, from the project ID to the specimen ID. Please note that in this case, according to the study protocols, the provider ID in this page must be different from the provider ID we can find in the interview page. In fact, the reader cannot be an interviewer of a specific patient, as he or she should be blind on the clinical situation of the enrolled participant when reading the POCT results. Irrespective of the protocol you are implementing, each CRF or POCT reader has a box where the reader is supposed to record the results of the POCT. At the bottom of the page, both the reader and the data entry operator are requested to enter the respective data. Of course, each protocol has specific items in the interview form and in the reader's forms. For each protocol, you will be provided with a questionnaire manual where you can find a detailed explanation, item by item, of the item's description and purpose, as well as the way in which you are supposed to fill in the specific box. Once again, we would like to remind you that all the SOPs and study materials, including the questionnaire manuals, are available on the dedicated WHO website.